Hello and welcome to another amazing sponsor chat here for the Big Wool Show. In this talk, we have Jessica from Dyeing For You. Jessica, how are you going?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. So, Jessica, tell us about Dyeing For You and how it came into being.
It all started with a pair of alpacas. I bought 5 acres out in the hills of Perth, and we needed some lawn mowers, so I bought a couple of
Alpacas are
alpacas.
awesome for that.
Yeah, and then of course you need to do something with their fleece, so I started spinning, and then I started dyeing some of the fleece. And before you knew it, I had so much stuff I had to start selling some of the stuff. So from there, I've sort of gone into developing different fibres and different using yarns, and yeah, it's just growing exponentially, really.
And it's one of those sort of like organic building of a business, isn't it? It's like
Yeah,
1 minute you
very
turn
much so.
around and you're like, hang on a second, I have a job.
Yeah. All of a sudden I have to register for GST. Ah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, it'd be so fun working your hobby as a job,
Mm,
and you're like, it has its days.
yeah.
Taxman's not one of those days.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
how long have you guys been running for now?
About 4 or 5 years. I think it was late
Wow,
2016, which probably makes it longer than that. Yeah.
it does.
But
Yeah,
I've yeah, mhm.
yeah,
Yeah. We've been out on this property for 14 years, and we got the
yeah.
alpacas a couple of years after that. But I didn't really start selling stuff until it got, taking over my house level. So that was, yeah, probably 2016, 2017. Started on Etsy. Now got
Yeah,
my own website. Yeah. So
yeah.
yeah, it's all been great fun, but as you said, at times a little challenging, especially when the tax man comes knocking.
Yes, and not just that, but also like now you don't just have products from your own farm. You're also
Mm.
incorporating other things as well. So how is that going? Like you've got you showed me the oh hello sorry my dog just jumped in. You've got your 3D printed bobbins. And
Mm.
do
Yep.
you guys do those? So you still need to get in the filaments and things like that. So getting all the
Mm.
supplies in to make them, and that is such
Yeah,
a
yeah,
cute
we
pink too.
it is gorgeous pink, yeah, and we have this really super bright, you'll never lose
Oh,
it yellow.
wow. Oh, holy
Um,
cow. That is an amazing
yeah,
yellow.
so we have quite a number of people contact us and say, look, I've got Uncle Fred made a wheel for Auntie Jane 50 years ago, and we can't get any bobbins for it. So they've tried wood
Shocking. I
turners, and
wonder
it's
why.
expensive. Yeah, and it's expensive. So they'll
Yeah,
post us one of their bobbins, and we will copy it. And yeah, it is a case of making sure you've got the filament coming in, and
yeah,
that the printers are always working, spare parts for those and bits and pieces.
yeah.
But yeah, no, it's been good fun, and we've had a lot of positive reviews of all our bobbins, which has been great.
That is
And
awesome. And I love that you're getting old wheels going again
mm, yeah,
because
and I
that's
mean it is.
usually the thing that stops it, isn't it? Is bobbins.
Yeah. Yeah, the bobbins and the glue on a lot of those old wheels tends to dry out, and then the bobbins fall apart. And so with these ones, they are plastic, but I don't feel so bad about them being plastic because they're going to be used for probably the next 50, 60 years. So
Yeah.
it's not a single
And
use thing.
no, and it's not single use. And also it's making like what would happen to that wheel if they couldn't get bobbins for it?
Mm, yeah,
Like
they
it would
probably just
end
have
up being a
to
display piece or in the tip.
mm, yep,
They're the
yep.
options for a wheel with no bobbins.
Mm, yeah, that's
So,
pretty much true. So yeah, we certainly do get the bobbins, the wheels going again for people. Yeah,
and
it's been
if
rewarding.
someone has a wheel but no bobbins, is there anything you can
Mm.
do to help them?
Yeah, so if they've got a flyer, we can take measurements off the flyer and sort of say, all right, so the bobbin that is going to fit is this wide, and the shaft down the middle needs to be this. And we can modify one of our existing patterns to make sure it fits in there. Usually, what we do is we'll actually send them one bobbin. They
Yeah.
just pay postage, they test it. If it works well for them, then they keep that bobbin and they're happy. They're quite welcome to order as many bobbins as they like. If it doesn't work well, then we modify it and try again. So yeah.
Okay. I love that. That's awesome. And also, you're
Mm.
not having to ship entire wheels around to try and
Y-
solve the
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah. So yeah, some people do post us their bobbins, but again, if they can't do that for whatever reason, we can give it a red hot go without that.
Oh, that's so good. So
Yeah,
you guys are obviously bobbin mad.
a little bit. Yeah, spinning wheel mad.
Bobbin
Yeah, I've
mad,
got so many
spinning
spinning
wheel
wheels.
mad. And
Yeah.
one of the biggest, I'd say probably one of the most popular items that people buy for their wheel after they bought the wheel is a Woollee Winder.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and we now stock them in Australia. We're the only stockist in West Australia, or in Australia. So
Yeah,
that's one for the Marja Craft. I know you sell Marja Craft
I
wheels.
do sell Marge Craft wheels. Yeah, love the
So that's
Marge
the Woolly
Craft.
Winder for that. And we've got the bobbins. And
Yeah,
we've also designed our own 3D printed bobbins as well. So some people buy a few of the wooden ones, but they can be quite expensive.
yeah.
And then they'll opt for a few of the 3D printed ones as well, which are about a
Just
quarter of the price.
oh wow, I
Yeah.
love that because
Mm,
that was one of the things that always put me off the Woolly Winder. I had to order it from the US.
mm,
And so hello US dollars, especially right now. It's very, very
shipping, yeah.
yes, yes.
Mm,
But you've got the Woolly one, but then you also have to buy their bobbins, and you may already
mm,
have.
yeah.
I don't want to say
20
how many I've
bobbins or
got.
something, yeah.
Lots of
Yeah.
bobbins. You may have lots of bobbins, and then you
I
can't
can,
use them with the Woolly winder
yeah, I was
on.
going to say, I can print my own bobbins. You can imagine how many bobbins I've got.
That would be so dangerous. I have
Yep.
not bought myself a 3D printer for one very important reason. I would
Yep.
print all the things.
Yeah, done a bit of that. Yep.
Yep. I'm just testing it.
Yep. Making sure it works 3 or 4 or
Yeah.
5 times.
Just trying a new filament color.
Yeah.
Um,
Yep.
so being able to get the Woolly one. Now, do you stock the Woolly one for the other brands as well, not just the Marja Craft?
Yes. Yeah. The most popular two we found, people love the Marja Craft one, and people love
Yeah.
the Ashford e-spinner one,
Yeah.
for the 2 and 3.
Mm-hmm.
So we have that one as well. We do try and keep a single one of all the Ashford and Marja Craft ones in stock, and a couple of others. Like I think I have a Hanson one at the moment.
Yeah.
But overall, if people contact us because there's one they want that we don't have, I'll make
Yeah.
sure it's in the next order. So, and
Yeah.
then I never charge people until it gets here because,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know
Who
what
knows how
postage
long
is
that
like at
could
the moment.
be? Yeah.
Yeah, so when it gets here, I'll send an invoice. They can then pay, and then I'll just ship it straight to them. So,
That's
yeah,
awesome.
I've got to put in another order with him shortly, actually. So if anyone wants anything
Yeah,
from Woolly
get your
Winder in
order
the
in
US,
now.
yeah, I'm about to put in an order with him. Yeah.
That's fantastic because I loved like I love the concept of the Woolly winder, but I also like the longevity. Like it wasn't
Mm,
like a flight. Like they've been going now for years and years and years. Like since well
yeah.
before I bought my first wheel, which
Mm.
we're not going to count that backwards. but but it's just one of those tools that has always been like in the
Mm,
dream toolbox. And so
mm,
now, knowing now that I can get one locally, I'm like, oh my
mm.
gosh, my shopping list from doing these interviews is very bad.
It's getting longer
Okay.
and longer.
Yes. I'm like, I need another job just to pay for all these things that I want to have. And then I need to quit that job so I've got time to use all the tools.
Yeah. I figure I'm stocking up now, so when I retire and I have no money, I've got them all.
See, I love that. I love that because a number of people that I hear say, I don't have time for that right now. I'll look into it once I've retired. But the
Mm,
catch is the prices on everything is just going up.
mm.
So,
And once you've
and then
retired,
when
you've
you
got no income
retire, you've
anymore.
got
So,
less, you've got less like
mm,
throwaway money. I mean,
yeah,
it's one of those things. It's like that Ouroboros,
yeah,
the snake eating its own tail.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
Y-
yeah,
You've either
it's a
got the
tough one.
time or you've got the money. You'd never have both.
You never have both.
Never.
Exactly
No.
right. Okay,
Although there's
so
Powerball tonight, so
I mean, I should probably have bought a ticket if I wanted to win, shouldn't I?
probably.
Yeah, maybe. Um, so obviously you love spinning wheels and
Mm,
making it so
yep.
that they can continue to be used.
Mm,
And you have your alpaca mowers. So
yep.
you have fiber. Do you
I do
stock
have fiber.
fiber in your store?
I do. I do. Ironically enough, I have no alpaca at the moment, but
Oh,
that's because this
that's
year's
actually quite
fleeces are
ironic. Yeah.
Yes. This year's fleeces have just come off the alpacas, so they do need to be processed into roving. So
Yeah. Taking some
that's a job
time.
for, yeah. But I do, one of my favorite blends is merino and silk, which I've been
Oh, I'm going to make
dyeing
the
up in
image
various
big so that
colors.
we can see it.
So
Oh, look at
the
those
purple and the
colors.
blue, gorgeous.
That is
And I just
gorgeous.
did this one for a group. They wanted something inspired by the colors where they were living in Rolly Stone.
Oh, that's
So that's
beautiful.
kind of those muted tones that you get through the hills here in Perth.
Yeah,
And one more for a young girl who loves greens and yellows, and so I've done
that
that
has
one up
come out
as well.
gorgeously because it's like doing greens and yellows together can always it's always like is this going to work?
Yeah, they're all very muted yellows. I mean, I
Yeah,
have lots of other colours and lots of other bits and pieces, but those are my three that I've done in the last couple of weeks,
yeah.
in between all my other jobs,
And
as we do.
you're getting all the stocks ready for the big wool show.
I am indeed, yeah. I've started dyeing up some new yarn colours as well. I've just been
Oh,
playing with
hang on, I'll make you
all
big
of
again.
the speckles.
Oh, I love
So,
speckles. That is
so that one was one of
gorgeous.
the ones. That's got
Lovely.
every other colour of speckles in the world. And this is another one I've just done, which is sort of blues and browns and a few
Yeah,
speckles in
look at
there again, but
that.
not as many.
That's
Yeah,
beautiful.
so I am playing. I've also just gone through all my stock, done a huge stock take, and worked out what I've got left over in terms of orphan skeins, the last ones in a batch. And I did advertise some of them on social media already.
Yep.
Um, but I'll be advertising more, and they're going to be on a super special discount for the wool show. So
Oh,
anything that's,
wow.
I do a batch of 12, and if you end up with one or two left over that you can't really match to another batch, they'll just go out for special. So yeah, that'll be
Wow.
good for people who
Lots
want
of
some cheap yarn.
lonely skeins needing new homes.
Yeah, it's amazing how many people it shows. You put orphan on the side of the box, and they're like, "Oh, the poor little orphans! I better take them
I
home."
better take them all home. They are now a
Yeah,
family.
they're now family, and I love them. Yes.
I never fall for
Yep.
that.
No, no, me neither.
That's how we know it
Yeah,
works, right?
exactly. Yeah, yeah. Little
Because
bit.
it worked on us. If
Mhm.
it works on us, it might work on other people.
Yeah, I think so.
Um,
Yeah.
I think so. I think so. Um, so when it comes to your dyeing process that you do for your fibers and your yarns, do you have repeatable colors, or is it this is the batch and then the next batch will be different?
No, I do have repeatable colours,
Yeah,
but I'm sure as we all know, you can
yeah.
do the same colour, and the second batch will come out just that shade lighter or that shade darker. Maybe the
Because you
citric
had
acid
your
was a bit
tongue in
too
the
much,
wrong
or
spot is why that happens.
yeah, exactly, or the
There was a
I don't know, the
breeze.
something happened. So if they match pretty well, then yes, I will put the orphan in with the others. But if
Yeah,
they don't, I don't feel right about doing that. I believe that, if you can't get them close, then no.
yeah,
Call that one an
yeah,
orphan, sell it off, and then the next batch
yeah.
become the next batch. So yeah.
I love
Yeah.
that. That's awesome. But
Yep.
I also love that, like, if someone loves a colorway, but you've only got like 2 or 3 in it, and they want enough for a sweater, like 6,
Mm,
they can
mm.
message you, I'm sure, and just go, "Hey, when
Oh
are you going
yeah.
to do the next
Yeah.
batch? Because I need all
Well,
of them."
yeah. I mean, I'm also quite happy if someone says, "Look, I need a sweater batch. I need 6, 7, 8." I can just do a batch, and I'll do it
Yeah,
exclusively for them. And I
yeah,
always make sure if they say I want 6, I'll always do 8, and I'll put those 2 aside somewhere for the next 3 months, so that when they come to knitting and they go, "Oh, I need one more," I've always got that one more. So yeah,
oh my goodness,
yeah.
that is
It's
that needs to be on a billboard somewhere. I keep the spares for you.
yes,
But you
yeah, a
have
limited amount of
but
time.
you have to cast on in 3 months. I mean, really? Who
Yeah.
casts on in 3 no.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Yeah, there's a limited time. It'll probably still be there next year, but yeah, after that,
Yeah.
they've
No, but
probably
I
settled.
love that. That is
Mm.
awesome. I've never heard of
I
anyone
just,
doing that before.
I just always find, people will say, I need 6 for this. And you think, well, you're going to need 6. It's going to be 7. I'll just do 8. And then
Yeah.
there's a couple there just in case. Yeah. And it's
Ah,
it's worked a few times. Quite a few people have contacted me and said, "You don't have any more of those, do you?" Yeah, I do.
I actually have 2 out of that exact batch.
Yep. I put them aside for you.
Oh
Yeah.
my goodness, that is fantastic. I love that so much.
Mm.
Wow, do you do that for fibre as well or just yarn?
Yeah, no, I can certainly do it for fibre. If someone says, "Look, we need, 5 of these," I'll do a 6th and a 7th. Um,
Yeah,
it just means that, yeah, it's there if they need it. If it's not, it goes in the next show batch, and that might be 12 months away, or I'm not doing
yeah.
too many shows these days, but yeah.
No, no. I
Yeah.
think a lot of us have really gone down the path of just making the decision.
Mm,
Like, really, like, before we were like, "Yep, shows, no problems. Yep, okay, cool.
mm,
Yeah, I'm gonna do that one and that one and that one." And the only thing that
mm.
stopped you from doing it was logistics.
Yep.
Whereas now we actually are sitting down and going, "Do I really need to do this show?"
Mm. Yeah, once everyone through COVID sort of started buying online, it was like, well, why am I lugging all this stuff everywhere and then lugging
Mhm.
it all back home again when I can
Yeah,
just do this and do social
yeah,
media and people see it? And most people have felt my yarn now. They know what it feels like. They're happy with the quality of it. So it's
yeah.
not such a
'Cause
big
that's
issue.
really the only reason now, isn't it, that you
Mm.
go every
Yep.
now and again is so new
Yep.
people get a chance to have a feel and a touch of the fibres.
Yeah.
Because all of us who make things are tactile.
Mm. Yeah, for sure. Yep.
It doesn't
And
matter
and
what
we
we're
want to
making.
we want to
We
squish.
want to squish the squishies. And we're all the same and we all understand. I remember many years ago, like, it was the very first craft project I tried to do by myself. And I stopped at a yarn store near where I lived, and all the yarn was in plastic bags, and you weren't allowed to
Mm,
touch it unless you were buying it.
mm, mm.
And I was just
Yeah.
like, but I don't know if I want to buy it because I have not touched it. And like, this was the
Mhm.
I'd never bought yarn before. So this is
Yeah.
what I thought the yarn buying experience was for many years.
Yeah.
And I pulled out, I was making a baby blanket for a friend's baby, and I
Mhm.
wanted to make something because we'd been to another baby shower where 3 people had turned up to the same gift. And I was
Yeah.
like, if I make it, then no one will come with the same gift.
Mhm.
And I was like, I'm going to make a little baby blanket. And I'm like following the instructions from the book to learn how to crochet the stitches to make the blanket.
Yeah.
Except the book was from the US, the pattern was from
Mhm.
Australia. I still got squares. I looked at one of those squares because I was unpacking some stuff that I had in storage,
Mm.
and it was still like the extras, like the little bits of extra ribbon and stuff like that
Yep.
I had left over. And I'm looking at this square like, I have no idea how I got those stitches, but they all matched.
Yeah.
No one's ever making another one of those, even if
No,
they have
that's
the pattern.
oh, that's the joy of making it yourself. It turns
That's
out
the joy
completely
of
unique.
making. You get to have like the hand-dyed yarns and the beautiful
Mm.
things, and you get to
Yeah.
put it into whatever design that you want, even if you mong up all the stitches,
Mhm.
and you get your own creation
Mm.
that's been made from someone else, like yours creations.
Mm.
And I love
Yeah,
that synergy.
mm. And made with love as well, because you don't make something and spend that much time on something unless it's for somebody that you know is going to appreciate it. So, yeah, you
Oh
knit-worthy
no, I've
people.
definitely done spike craft before. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's a whole nother rabbit hole.
Yeah, yeah. Spike craft is real.
Okay, I'm kind of glad now you live on the other side of the country to me.
Yeah, that's probably not a bad thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway.
Oh, moving on.
Mhm.
Let us know
Yeah.
in the chat down the bottom if you've ever done spike craft or if you only craft for love. Um, so okay, so you've got your fiber and you've got your beautiful yarns,
Mm.
and you're going to be joining us for the live stream as well. That's right.
Yes. Yep. Yep. Got to book my
Will
time in.
you
Yep.
be? you'll be doing a giveaway during our live stream this year?
I will, yes. I haven't quite worked out what I'm giving away, but I will be giving away something. So you'll have to watch the live stream
You'll
to find
have
out what
to
that is.
watch and see. So what you
Yep.
need to do, viewer, is right here is Dying for You. This is Jess's Instagram handle. She didn't know I was going to do this, but she knew I was going to show the Instagram handle, but didn't know this bit. You need to follow Dying for You on Instagram, because just before she goes live, she's going to put on there, I'm going live. Pressure, that's your pressure. You ready?
Yeah, okay,
yeah. and that way you know that you can get in and have a chance at winning something amazing from Jessica. Oh, hello, Magpie.
Yes, yeah, we've got a family of magpies out the front here. Yep.
I love Magpie's song. It's so beautiful.
It is beautiful, isn't it?
It is. It is. At the moment, we've got plovers. And they're not my favorite, little birds with ninja elbows.
Yeah,
you know, they're little not what are masked lapwings, I think. My daughter likes to call everything by its proper name. I'm like, get rid of them stupid birds. The ninja birds. I don't like the ninja birds with their little knives on their elbows. But so you've got a lot of colors that are just beautiful. Where do you get your inspiration from those?
From the surroundings around us. Like I said, that one I did for the Rolling Stone group was absolutely from like a so that one there was just the colors up here in the Perth Hills. Very, very beautiful, very muted, very lovely. I mean, also, like all the rest of us, I follow 1,000,001 people on Instagram. Some of them are photographers, some of them are artists, some of them are other dyers, and just being able to see what everybody else does and how they put colours together. And I'm even looking at the background behind you, kind of going, "Oh, look at all those pretties." I could, and that one, yeah. I don't know. You just kind of. And then sometimes it's just, oh, look, those dyes are sitting next to each other. Why don't we try those two together? Let's see what happens. So, yeah.
I often found that the randomness of the using up the end of the dye after a dye session in like one batch, and you'd be like, oh man, how did I do that? Because that was awesome. But that's all that one's going to be. That's a one of a kind.
Yep, can't repeat that one. Sorry.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, I'm more like, because I agree with you. There's so many ways to be inspired now, and I'm always curious to know how different people are inspired, because like you, I follow all kinds of creatives, not just yarn dyers, because looking at what looking at what like photographers can do with color, it just blows my mind. And my dad's a painter, so I've been watching people mix colors my whole life. And just seeing, like, I don't know if you've seen it. I think it's a TikToker. It could be an Instagram Reels or Stories. I don't know. Someone who gets a piece of paper in a color, sticks it to the corner, and then they splodge on paint colors until they match it perfectly.
Oh, right.
And I just think that is like the eye that they must have for color to know to add in like the blue and the gray and the yellow to create this, amazing green. And it's just it's always perfect. I'm like, I hate you, stop doing that. Watch us the next one.
I was gonna say they don't put on the ones that didn't go perfect.
Actually, you know what, you're probably 100% right.
Yes, we all have the reject box over there that we won't talk about.
And we all frame things exactly how we want. Like, just over here is a craft table that is covered in stuff. You can't see. You have this frame.
Turn around my computer.
We do not turn around the cameras. It's
no, definitely not. No.
No, I know what a home looks like when there's a craft business exploded inside of it.
I've
that would be
completely
outside
taken
of
over
store.
the games room.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've completely taken over the games room in our house. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's absolutely full of stock. It's ridiculous. But,
I'm not
I'm loving it.
surprised, especially considering you hold skeins. Like,
Mm,
I think that's fantastic.
yeah.
And because it's not something people usually do, I would never have thought to contact you and ask. You wouldn't have happened to kept another one out of that batch that I
Mm,
bought 12 weeks ago, would you?
yep. Yep.
Um, I would never have thought to ask. Now I'm like,
Mm.
dying for you is on my list of people for when I'm making big garments.
Yeah. Yeah, I've just seen it too many times, where I also work in a retail yarn store, but
Yeah,
yeah, I've just seen too many times where people come in and they'll buy, a bag of 10 balls of something, and then they always come back and you don't have an 11th ball in this dye lot, and you're like, sorry, no, it's sold out now. But I've
yeah.
just seen that too many times. So
I,
thought,
I
no,
love that. I love that you actually understand that question. I go
mm,
up to the local up here at like my local is a Spotlight store, admittedly,
that's
and
a swear word.
I know, and I said it in one of these, but they don't
Yep.
know what a batch. They don't know what a dye lot is. They don't know what a batch
No,
is. They don't understand
no.
that that one's not right.
Mm.
And I will sit there. I'm that person who sits on the floor in the aisle and pulls all of them out
Yeah, to
and then
find the
puts them
dye
back
lot.
in their batch in their dye lots and be like,
Yeah.
okay, I needed 11 in one dye lot, and there is out of the 35 balls,
Mm.
there is not 6 in the same dye lot.
No. It's awful, isn't it, with places
And then
like
you say,
that?
is
Yeah.
there another bag of this somewhere? And they're like, how many balls do you want? And you're like, 11. And they're like, and I'm like,
Yeah.
none of them match. And they're like, yes,
Yeah.
they do. No, they don't. Are you kidding?
We do. Yeah.
And I think
Yes.
that's one of the advantages of being able to go into a proper
Mm.
yarn store,
Yarn
or
store.
talk to a
Yeah, for sure.
dyer or somebody who understands the importance of dye
Mm.
lots.
Yep.
Um, I have a question for
Yeah.
you. I'm just ready to throw
Mm.
you under the bus. You ready?
Yeah, I'm
Um,
ready.
what would be your recommendation to somebody if they haven't started the project yet, but
Mm.
they've realized that they are short some skeins and have to get something from another dye lot?
In terms of how they incorporate it into their project,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, I would definitely say to do an alternation. So I'm currently knitting a cardigan, and it's commercial yarn, but I'm still alternating the skeins because
yeah.
I mean, even within a dye lot, I sometimes find that it's just not. One turns
It's
out a
not
little bit darker,
perfect.
one turns out a little
Yeah.
bit lighter, and my dye lots are done in. So I've got like pans, and there's 4 in that pan, 4 in the next pan, and 4 in the third pan. And of course, as much as you go, all right, so a third of the thing of dye on this, and a third on that one, and a third on that one, they're all going to be very slightly different. So
Yeah, there could be
even if you've got the
milliliter
same
differences
batch,
that you wouldn't notice, but that will
yeah,
change the color.
yeah, exactexactly. So or that one's slightly hotter than that one, so the
Yeah.
dye takes up quicker in this one than that
Or
one.
this one
So
had 0.1 of a gram more citric acid in it than
yeah,
that one.
yes, I didn't count the grains quite right, and there was 12 in that one and 13 in that one. But that's I always say to
That's the
people,
nature of
always
it, though.
alternate.
That's the
Yeah,
realism of
always
it
alternate your
is,
skeins. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. And if you want perfect color, don't go to Spotlight. But if you want perfect color, go to a yarn store and buy something from, I don't know, Clackheaton or Peyton's or Panda or something. Then you get exact same color across the whole dye lot. Whereas
yeah,
indie dyers, we're human beings. You can't
mhm,
control every variable every time. But
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, it's just the
so yeah,
reality of
always
it.
alternate. Yeah, always alternate your skeins. Always. Some people I know will alternate right from the very beginning of a project all the way through. Other
Yeah,
people will do, say, 2/3 of the first skein and then start to incorporate in, so 2 rows of one, 2 rows of the next, and then
mhm,
go from there. It's really up to you which way you do it.
yeah.
I get a bit tangled if I do it the whole way through, but yeah,
Yeah, I've never had much success with keeping everything tidy when I'm alternating skeins.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
just kind of like, you know what? This is just what happens. It's
yeah,
just
yes,
this is the yarn.
yeah. And then if you add in color work or something else as well, you just
Yeah,
kind of go, yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
And like because it sounds like you do a lot of crafting yourself, so I'm just throwing
Mm,
random questions out at you.
mm.
Do you have any way that, like, any physical organization that you use for when you're doing some sort of color work or alternating, like, so that you less chance of nightmare mess piles? You know, do you have any tips, or are you just
I'd
like
love.
me and just go, do you know what, I'm going to deal with the mess?
Yeah, I must say I mostly deal with the mess. I do have project bags that, I've
Yeah,
bought from a lot of actually mostly from some of the beautiful creatives who come on things like the Big Wool Show. You go, oh, project bags.
yeah.
So I will have them in different project bags all sitting next to me. But yeah, in the end, it doesn't matter. You try and turn that way on the first row and then back that way, but you always end up,
I always
and the
end up
whole
wrapping
thing's,
around and around.
yeah. And then you just go, all right. So the next time I pick that up, we need to shake it
Yeah,
all
that's
out,
right.
sort it
So
all
I'm
out,
just going to
and it's done.
unwrap it a bit, like,
Yeah,
oh yeah, honey, no worries. You can talk to me while I do this bit. I'm about to start knitting
yeah,
now, and you'll have to stop.
yes, yes. And then you get a mug like this that says,
Oh, I forgot. You're getting mugs now. Hang on, let me
yeah.
make
So
it big. I
I
knit so
knit
I
so I
don't
don't
kill
kill people.
people. I love
So then
that.
when your husband interrupts you, you just passively aggressively kind of drink out of the.
Yeah, just hold it up so that the label's
Yeah,
out. I reckon another
yeah.
really good one would be, you're lucky I knit, that's why you're alive.
Yeah, yeah.
You
Well, I,
know?
I want to get one that says my craft time is for your safety.
Oh, yes, that one's cool too. Because I
Yeah.
forgot, like, you do have like a few different options for mugs as well, don't
Mm.
you?
Yeah,
So
yeah. I've got
I don't play.
I've got lots of knits and crochet ones, and they're fairly standard sayings. But I've had some ones custom designed for
Yeah.
weavers and spinners. So that's weavers are all a
Weavers
little
are all
warped.
a little warped. Oh,
Yep.
I like that.
And then this one for those of us who love spinning wheels.
The original
Original
the original
fidget spinner.
fidget spinner. Yep.
Yep.
Oh, I like
So
that.
and then this one, which is my personal favorite, spinning because knitting isn't weird enough.
Yes, I love that. That is so
So
cool.
yeah, so I've worked with the lady who does them. She's actually over in Adelaide, I think, on a Canberra,
Yeah.
and yeah, we've designed a few different mugs. So get on the website and have a look at the mugs. Maybe I'll put one of them in the giveaway. We'll see.
Ooh. Ooh,
Yeah,
that sounds cool. But we
yeah,
won't know what we're giving away until we do the live stream.
mm,
So you're
that's
still going
right.
to have
Because
to
I'm
come.
I'm not organised. That's why.
No, no, it's not that. It's secret squirrel business is what it
It's
is.
secret. Yeah, it's
It's
mystery.
intentional mystery. It's the
Yep.
allure
Yes, that's the one.
to get people to come to the live streams. Really, no.
Mm, exactly. Yeah.
Did you catch any of the live streams last year?
Yes, I did. I watched most of them. I think I was up the very first one. Like I did mine the very first on the Saturday, so I was super nervous and hadn't seen any, and
Yeah.
we had fun. We did all right.
Yep.
And then yeah, I pretty much watched the rest of them on the Saturday, and I
Yeah.
thoroughly enjoyed them all, and shopped a little bit too much.
Yeah, I
And
may
I
have
think I caught.
also shopped a little hard at the end of the day. I was like, okay, you know what? If it's still there once I've finished today, then it was
Yeah.
meant to be mine. And unfortunately, like
Yes.
I tried to be a bit more restrained on the Sunday. I failed.
Yeah, 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 fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
watched about half of them on the Sunday as well because I was busy doing other things. But yeah, they're just
yeah,
so interesting to learn how other people have ended up in this industry and how many of them have done basically what I did. You
yeah.
fall into it almost. You start making a few things for yourself, and before you know it, you've taken over your whole craft room, and you think,
It's a
I'm going
really
to do something
common
with this. So,
it's a really common story, but everyone's is slightly different.
mm,
Like the initial
mm.
gateway drug is always just that
Yeah,
little bit different, you know?
yes, yes.
And
I've heard,
so
that. Yeah,
nobody who crafts is safe because any of you could end up doing this.
yep,
Because
yep,
everybody's starting story is just that little bit different.
yeah.
And I love that there's so many pathways that lead to
Mm,
creating beautiful
mm.
colors.
Yeah. Yeah, and I find it interesting, people come and say, "Oh, I've been knitting for a while. I'd really like to learn crochet." And you're like, "Well, that's a whole nother rabbit hole you might fall down, or
Yeah.
the people who've never heard of something like Ravelry, and you think, oh my goodness,
Yeah,
dedicate
it's
a whole
like,
day because
oh
working on
dear.
something like
Okay, before
yeah,
you log on the first time, block out
yeah,
4 hours out of your
yeah,
diary. Don't have
yeah,
anything urgent or important that you're supposed to just like, I'll just have a quick look.
yeah, no, no, never
No,
happens, never happens. Yeah.
no.
And it was pretty much the same with this big wool show last year. I think I spent all day Saturday, and because watching the live streams, and then on the website as well, going, "Oh, look what that person's got," and "Oh, look what that person's got." Yeah,
Yeah,
you fall into a rabbit hole, and that's it.
it is.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I love is that everybody did that because
Mm,
it's quite easy for people sort of outside of the yarny sphere to think, well, you guys are all in competition with each other.
mm,
And you dye yarn. Why do you need other people's yarn? And it's just like,
mm.
I don't dye that yarn.
No, that's right.
I don't
Yep.
dye that color.
Hmm. Yeah,
Like,
and I always say to people, I say, if you want a list of West Australian indie dyers, email me.
yeah,
I've got the full
I'll
list.
just
There's
check
about
my
20 of us.
PayPal
Yeah.
from all my purchases.
Yeah. So I'm more than happy, like I always say, colleagues, not competition. I'm more than happy to let people
Yes.
know because my style's completely different to somebody, Taryn from Threaded Embraces, and completely different to, um, just who's the other one? Cable Tie Knits.
Yeah.
Amy, I think her name is. She's just started up about 6 months ago, and hers is completely
Yeah.
different as well. It's just, yeah.
And
And
this
of
is the
course, I've
thing,
got
your
some from everyone.
personality is always infused into your yarn. Whether you try
Mm,
for it to not be, it is. It's in there.
mm,
And
yep.
and we're all individuals and we all
Mm,
see the world differently. Um,
yep.
it's like you can have 5 different painters painting the exact same vista and have
Mm,
5 totally different paintings
yeah.
because
Yeah.
they're sitting in
Exactly.
exactly the same spot using exactly the same paints,
Mm,
but it's their outlook of what they're seeing is totally different.
mm. Yeah, and I think we all see color very slightly differently, and what we perceive as perhaps the most important thing in a vista or
Yeah.
is different. So, but it's, even all of us, we all have our favorite colors. And as much as indie dyers, we try and go, all right, I need to do the full spectrum of color. It's really hard not to gravitate back to your favorites all the time and just put a few speckles of that because that's my favorite.
Yeah.
So,
It's like,
every colorway has a little bit of pink or something,
yeah.
you know?
There's a
Yeah.
little bit of Jessica's favorite on everything.
Yeah, yeah. Yes.
I know what you
Yes.
mean. It's very hard. I remember I was having a few years ago, I had a conversation with a lady and she commented that I never dyed anything that she liked and
Mm,
that she liked my dyeing style, but I never chose colors that she was interested in.
thrilled with, yeah.
And I said to her one day, just give me a photo of something
Mm,
of the colors. Like I want to see the colors that you like.
mm,
And so she was just like, oh, and she just forwarded me a photo straight away. And I had a look and I'm like, so you like this color? And she's like, no, no, no. And like you said, people see the different important
mm,
things. And so even if she
mm,
had emailed me that photo, I still would have dyed her yarn that she probably
mm,
wouldn't have been thrilled with. But after having a discussion with her and her pointing out the bits of and why this was her favorite and why that was the
mm.
second favorite and why this bit was the
Yep,
fourth favorite. And then you could
yep.
create a colorway. I found that to be probably one of the hardest dyes I ever did.
Mm, mm. Yeah, because it's not your favorites, and it's so tricky. So
It's
tricky.
so
And
tricky.
knowing what colors go together that you don't normally gravitate to. Oh, it's
Yes.
yeah.
And the different tones of those colors that were, oh gosh.
E-
Yeah,
Yep.
I really admire the dyers who do custom dyeing.
Mm,
I just
yeah.
think I tried it. I'm like, no, not for me.
Yeah.
It was
I
so
have done it
stressful.
on occasion, and
Yeah.
like I said, the one for Rolly Stone. So, but
Yeah.
overall, it's less for me. They usually come to me and they say we want something inspired by, and I'll do something for them. But
Yeah.
yeah, for someone to actually go, all right, so I want this color and this color. Oh, it's really hard, And I will still do custom dyes, but I always say to people, I'll dye it. If you love it, buy it. If you hate it, I'll put it on my stall.
Yeah.
So they don't pay for it until
Yeah,
they're
until
happy
it's
with it,
done.
basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
It's definitely not just the skill of the dyeing, but the
Mm.
skill of the hands off.
Yeah.
Like
Yep.
not pouring, you're like, what if they don't like it? Oh my gosh,
Mm.
what if they don't like it? You know, then I've
Yeah.
upset them. And
Yeah.
that was the bit I couldn't cope with.
Mm.
It was
Yeah,
like
that's fair enough.
everyone seemed to like the yarn, which is great, but that whole stress that I
Mm.
put my own self through, I
Mm.
was like, yeah, no, that's not for me. So I'm always so like, I love seeing people who can do it and do it
Mm.
with that attitude, like with your attitude of
Mm.
I'm just gonna do it, and if you don't like it, you don't like it. I'm just gonna sell it over
Mm.
here.
Yeah. And that's
Love
why I
that.
kind of do it that way, because for me, if they'd prepaid and said, I want this, that was too much stress for me. Whereas if I'm
Yeah,
just doing it and then they haven't paid for it, they feel they have the option to kind of go, yeah, no, that wasn't really what I wanted.
yeah,
And I just put it up on the shop and somebody else loves it. So,
yeah,
yeah. Yep.
yeah. No,
Yep.
that's awesome. I love that. I think that's great because it is
I'm,
like we're
yep.
creating things, right? Like this is the
Mm.
reality of it. Every skein of yarn you create is an expression of your creativity.
Mm.
And it took me a long time to not be sad when people didn't like my especially the ones that I love the most, and they would be the last ones
Mm.
to go, and you're like,
Yeah. But they're my favorites.
but they're my favorites. Why do you not like this
Yeah.
one? Why do you like that one that I didn't like? I called it the poo
Like,
name.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep. Mm.
it is
Yeah,
definitely. There
yeah,
you
I
go.
find that with yellow, like yellow, I'll dye up a big batch of a really bright sunshiny yellow, and it might stay for a year, but then somebody will be at a show and they love that bright sunshiny yellow, so they will literally buy everything in the entire store that's yellow
Because you're the
because
only one that does it.
I'm the only one who does that bright sunshiny yellow, and
Yeah.
then I have to do another batch, and again it might sit there for 12 months, but eventually someone just comes and buys the whole lot. It's
Oh,
amazing. But it's not a color I gravitate towards, and it's not a color I would generally use. But
yeah.
you know,
I've just
there's a
been
color
working
for
on a
everybody.
project for a long time, and I got snarled down in the yellow.
Mm.
It was just really hard to work. I'm like, oh, is this yellow ever going to be over?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
I actually like it. And this is the thing, I love a lot of colors. And I think as a
Mm,
dyer, you do tend to like a lot of colors. And we learn about like for yourself in the pot
mm.
of dye powder that you've purchased from whatever supplier you're using,
Yep.
that's not just a pot of yellow. That is a
Mm,
pot of like so many different tiny little speckles of
mm.
differing colors to make that exact tone of yellow.
Yep.
And one of the skills, especially that you have as a speckling dyer, is understanding those and utilizing those, because every
Mm,
single like speck of dust could be a
mm.
different color. Have you
Yeah.
come across a time where you've gone to speckle with something that you've speckled with before? It might be a new pot of it or whatever. And
Mm.
then you've gone, oh, that's totally different.
Yeah. Yes, yes, I have.
What do
But
you do in those
also,
instances?
call it a different colorway name and just be done with it. It's like, that's
Okay.
new all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And then try again with something else. No, I have found, even I've got a black, because I use some dyes from the US called greener shades that have no heavy metals in them, so they're all
Yeah.
environmentally certified because we're on septic tanks. Don't want to put anything nasty in there.
Yeah.
And there's an underground creek runs under the front of our property.
Mm-hmm.
And the black that I use, most blacks are quite good, but this one, it splits, and sometimes it
Oh.
will split into this beautiful black and denimy blue and brown, and it'll come out like that, and you go, oh wow, that's stunning. Try and do it again and you can't. Other times it'll split to the red, and it's the
Oh.
same bag of dye,
Yeah.
and it's the same, and you're going, well, what did I do differently between that one and that one that they're like that? So with some of my black colorways, I do have to just basically say, all right, so that one's split to the black, so that one, or that, that one's black, that's okay. That one's split to the blue, we'll call that a different name. That one's split to the red, we'll call that a different name. So
Yeah. You just have
it's
to take it in
it's
stride.
You do really, yeah, and that's not
Yeah.
even speckling. That's just
That's
with the
just
dye. Yeah.
semi-solid dyeing. Yeah.
Yep. And yeah, I did have one color that I absolutely loved, and then the manufacturer changed the formula, and you just go, ah, but
And they
again,
say,
you just have,
oh, it makes the same color, but it might make the same solid color, but it doesn't make the same speckles.
no, and it sometimes doesn't make the same solid color either. It'll be a bit darker, it'll be a bit lighter, it'll be just that touch more green, just that touch more blue, whatever the case
Yeah.
might be. And yeah, in a lot of cases, I'll end up going, all right, so this is the last of that batch, so we'll run
Yeah.
that out at a special, and then we'll do another lot and call it a different name.
It's a new
So,
name. It's a new
it's
day,
a new one.
everybody.
Yeah,
Look at
yes.
this brand new colorway I came up with.
Yeah. Using
And I
exactly
think
the same
lately
formula as
a
the old one.
lot of dyers have been having to do that because of that the places that we buy dye from, they're having to do this because they have their own supply chain issue problems,
Yep.
and they're being forced into, because no company will change its recipe just because.
Yeah.
There has to be
No,
a reason behind it.
they've all
And
got their
at the
reasons. Yeah.
moment, it's mostly supply chain or costings issues.
Mm.
And the flow-on effect is that dyes get to have new colorways.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, and it's not super awesome if you've got a
No,
really
no.
amazing colorway that sells all the time and the new version of it,
Yeah.
is not it.
No, that's right.
Whether for
Yeah.
good or bad, it's just not it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like everyone, supply chain issues with it, yarn, whether it's dye, whether it's getting the Woollee Winders in. It
Yeah,
it is what it is at the moment. You just have to roll with it, really, don't you?
you
And then, of
have to
course,
roll
Australia
with it.
Post, getting
La
anything from
la la
Australia
la
Post
la la
over
la.
east. Oh, just so yeah.
Yeah,
If you order from me, I'm sorry, but it might take a little while to get to you guys.
yeah, that's
It's a
right.
couple of
Because
weeks.
he's coming from the other side of the country.
Yeah, yeah, and of
Unless
course,
unless you get more locals, because I know a lot of like yarn crafters
mm,
in WA who complain they have to get
mm,
everything from the East Coast.
yep,
And
yep,
then they have to wait for all of that to come over. So,
yeah,
you know,
yeah. Yeah, I'm certainly get my name out there, and as I said, I like to support the other indie dyers in Western Australia as well. My
yeah,
Powerball dream is to open a shop out in a little country town just about 40 minutes from me, beautiful tourist town called Tujay, and all
yeah.
I want to stock is Western Australian indie dyed yarn. The reason it's a Powerball dream is because it will make no money, but it'll be so much fun.
That's a positive spin on it. It's going to make no money, but I will play with all of the yarn.
Exactly. But for me, it's also about supporting those other ladies. I'm a little older than most of the other indie dyers in Western Australia. My kids are a bit grown up. This
Yeah,
for me is fun and makes a little bit of money, but mostly it's about enjoyment. Most of them have young children. I'm trying to support them as well, get their names
yeah,
out there, make sure that because they need the money. They need to make money out of all these. Whereas for me, as I said, it's fun. I'm
yeah,
enjoying myself. And
yeah.
I do, as I said, I do make a little bit of money out of it, probably because I'm having fun,
And
probably
I
because I'm
think that's
enjoying
the
myself.
big
People can see
attitude
that.
shift is that when you're stressing about money, you're less creative.
Oh, for sure. As soon as I had
And
to register for GST, I was like, I don't want to do this anymore.
yeah, this is not fun.
No, I'm not an accountant.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
definitely
Yeah.
makes you sort of have to stop and think, do I really want to keep doing this?
Mm, yeah.
Because it's taking those next steps into like business incorporation or GST
Mm,
or like whatever those
yeah.
next steps are for your business, it
Yeah.
really becomes a, do I really want to keep doing this?
Mm,
And
yeah.
I'm really happy to say that there's a lot like that go yes, because it means
Mm.
I still have people I can buy yarn from.
You
Because
still
I
have
just
people who
think
can enable you.
I
Mm.
love people who enable me, honestly. Last year I had to stop dyeing for health reasons, so I've not been able to
Mm.
dye my own yarn for some time,
Aw.
and I'm just like, oh, here comes the big wool show.
Yay! All of the things.
I've been so
Yeah.
good. I've been
Yeah.
so good. I deserve to buy all the yarn.
Mm,
I've
yeah.
also been working on the same project for 2 years now. And it's this
About time
massive
to get that
crochet
one.
blanket. It's
Yeah.
nearly
Yeah.
finished. It's nearly
Oh, good.
finished. So I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. And I've learnt my lesson. Don't make the biggest size and then add to it and then use bigger yarn.
What is it? So king size now instead of cot blanket by the time you do all that?
Yeah, pretty much. My goal was to make a queen size blanket that went over the sides, right? I didn't want it to go to
Yeah.
the floor or anything like that, but I wanted it to cover the timber on my bed. So I
Yeah.
measured it, all that sort of stuff, like la 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 la.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's 2.2 meters wide before
Right.
the border.
Right. So it's going to be
Yeah.
hanging on the floor.
I'm now not making a thick border. I'm now making a little thin paper frame border.
Yeah.
Just because, I don't want it on the floor. Also, I want it over.
Yeah. Fair enough. And if you're doing the border, going all the way around the edge. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and
I hear you.
it's a folded border. So, like, the advantage is you don't have to weave in any of the ends because you change yarn every row. And
right.
so you don't have to weave in the ends because the border encases the ends. And
That's
so,
brilliant. Yep.
I'll have that.
Yep.
Because I think we worked out that there were 350 odd rows.
Yep. That's a
So
lot of
there's
ends.
700 ends, plus any
Oh,
ends that happen to come through the middle, which there weren't many. But
yeah.
it was just
Yeah.
like a lot. But when it comes, like, I hear people, like, because I've used commercial yarn for that, because it's using up, did I work it out? Something like 3.5 or 4 kilos of yarn.
Wow.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah.
Do you have any recommendations for people, like, who want to go in to do a larger scale project, but they want to use the indie dyes? Like, I used indie dye on this blanket, but it's only it's way smaller. It's a lap rug. It's a big lap rug, but it's a lap rug.
Yeah.
And that still used a kilo of hand dyed.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to have the indie dyed, but you're not necessarily looking at doing, maybe don't do the whole thing in indie dyed yarn. Maybe do, like, I can see your beautiful blanket. You could probably do the grey bits around there in a commercial, and then perhaps the colours in your beautiful indie dyed. You can certainly incorporate, them all in together. Yeah, I mean, but if you really want to do the indie dyed yarn, the sock yarn, it goes forever. It's about 400 meters in there. It's
That's what that one is,
beautiful to work with. Yeah, beautiful to work with. And so many dyers do sock yarn that you could easily say buy a skein from me and a skein from someone else, and you just put them all in together because I like that color and I like that color, and all of a sudden you've got a beautiful, amazing blanket. Yeah.
Yeah, and then maybe, like, use whatever, like you said, like the grey or something from the commercial in the same weight. Go and pick that up from somewhere else. You could make a WA dyers blanket.
I originally, when I started, I was collecting skeins from all the indie dyers in Western Australia, and there was about 5 or 6 of us, and I was like, I'm going to make a shawl with all of these beautiful skeins. Now there's about 20 of us. I'm like, I'm going to make a blanket with all these beautiful skeins.
Have you
Yeah, there's a
started?
lot of us. No.
I'm not judging at all, because have you met
No.
me? Like, I have no place to judge in that particular field. I was just curious.
Yeah, no, that again, it'll be one of those projects that when I have a physical shop, I'd really like to have a project like that hanging up so that I can showcase all the different West Australian dyers. But at the moment, I'm still sort of working out of my home and online, and it's probably not the economic climate at the moment to try and look at opening a physical shop. So.
Really? No.
You
Because it could
think?
be just the perfect time to get a shop.
Well, I do know one that's just closed down. I could steal their space, but no, I won't.
No, it's definitely a tough time for everybody. Like, just simple things like fuel and electricity and, you know, all
Mm.
the necessities. The one thing that I've actually really taken comfort in is while, and this may be controversial, just okay. While yarn crafting is a hobby and therefore a luxury item,
Yep.
I actually look at it like my $30, $40 skein of yarn has just given me 50 hours of entertainment.
Yep. Yep. It's a lot
You
cheaper than
know,
going to the movies with a
or
thing of popcorn.
yeah, that's right. Like my $40 skein of yarn, my 1 month of Netflix, and you know, my couch has
Yep.
kept me happy and calm, and like, because it's the yarn crafting is I find it, at least myself, to be very deep, relaxing and de-stressing. And so no matter what's going on around, just, you know, not when you're learning. Okay, everybody, not when you're learning. All right. Once you've learned, it's de-stressing. But while you're learning, you're angry at it and you're stabbing things and you're like, whose idea was this? I would like to take it to them with my needles. Once you do that whole, lean back and start that, then you can just rewatch the same shows you've watched 47,000 times on Netflix without guilt, because you can't watch the screen. You just need to watch your hands and enjoy the things you love, the reruns of the show you love, the beautiful skein of yarn that you're getting to create something with. And then there's also the joy in either gifting or wearing.
Yeah, it's cheaper than therapy, as I like to say.
That needs to go on a mug.
It's probably true, yes.
Knitting is cheaper than therapy.
I was going to say, and then we're kind of back to this one. I knit so I don't kill people.
I mean, yep, absolutely.
I also have the crochet version of the same thing. I crochet so I don't kill people. Yeah.
I love it. I've got it on a shirt.
Yeah. But I definitely will get onto that one that says my crafting time is for your safety.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Because this is the thing, like, you know, we are in unusual times, and we're definitely in a world where people are more conscious of what they're wearing, and they're thinking about the kilometers that the yarn has traveled, and they're thinking about who it's supporting. Is it supporting a local business or a conglomerate? Is it supporting, you know, like I'm having conversations with people at Woolies at the milk fridge. Because they're making, they're making these decisions on their 3-liter bottle of milk. Am I going to support a local business where all the money stays in the country, or am I going to support a company where the money all goes to France? I mean, admittedly, all the cows are in Australia, so, you know, like, you know, but the profits, where did the profits go? And that's how I like to think of it. And there's that beautiful sign, I've seen it floating around the socials. You know, the purchase you made here doesn't go to some, you know, millionaire's, you know, bar fridge in their yacht. It puts a local girl through ballet lessons, or, you know, it goes so that this person can send their son to football. And it you know, when you support the local community, it stays in the local community. And that's one of the things I love about the yarn, like this yarn, the Big Wool Show in Australia, is that that we are all local, small individual businesses here, and it's supporting everybody.
Yeah, and if you can keep it local, it just goes around, and then it supports so many people. Whereas, like you said, if it goes to a big conglomerate and then goes overseas, that's it, gone.
That's it. It's bye-bye. Start the cycle again, and just keep. It's not a cycle then. It's just an arrow.
Yep.
You know,
just heading out. Yep.
I love indie dyers, and I love supporting indie dyers. There's nothing to do with the fact that I'm a yarn addict.
No. There's a mug for that, actually. It says something about I should be ashamed about the amount of yarn I buy, but I'm not. Sorry, I've got that one here.
That you need to get extras of those in for the Big Wool
Show. Maybe I'll bring them all out for the live, and I can show everybody. Who you can just have
it set up on a shelf behind you, and just you know, when someone says something, just lean back and just mug them.
This one.
Yeah. This is what we're saying. This is so. It's
Yeah.
been so awesome to chat with you again, Jessica.
Yeah, you
And
too.
I can't wait for our live stream chat, because this is really like relaxed and chill. The live stream chats are not that.
No.
They're a little more frantic.
I remember that from last year. Yeah, yeah. And
Yeah. Just a little more, because it's like we're watching the clock and we're like doing giveaways. It's like, okay,
Yeah,
bye,
let's go.
next person.
Yeah.
But no, I
Yeah.
love that we get to have this time where we got to have a really good long chat, and
Mm.
I'm that lucky person who gets to have these wonderful conversations. But everybody watching can go back and they can look at our conversations this year, last year, the year before. They're all still available on the Big Wool Show YouTube channel. And did that scare you? Just then, Jess, you were like,
No,
really?
no. I just there's a midgie just flew past my face.
Oh,
I was
okay.
like, whoa.
All right. Okay. I was like, did I just scare you by telling you
No,
that the
no,
old
no,
videos
no.
are still there? Because some
Trying to
people
work out
don't
what my
like
hair
that
looked like last
information.
year.
Yeah, I had more hair last year.
Yes, you've gone short.
I
Yes.
have gone short again. But yeah, so you can go back and you can rewatch them, and you can see how people's businesses have changed, and you can see how they've grown as business people as well, and even just like different styles and colors and different tastes. You know, all of that constantly evolves and changes, and I love that we're getting to do this year on year on year, so that we can see this journey for everybody.
You watch the evolution of everybody. Yeah, it's great, isn't it? Yeah.
It is. It really is. I love it. And
Mm.
I'm the spoiled lucky person who gets to actually have the conversations.
Yeah, you get to chat to everybody. I don't know how you do it all day on the Big Wool Show day. It must be exhausting, but we're so grateful that you do.
It's like, the reality is I can talk under wet cement. So my husband really loves the Big Wool Show weekend, because I come out and just sit and don't talk. And he's like, are you okay? Are you sick? Are you dying?
Yeah.
So
Am I in trouble?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do I do? I'm getting the silent treatment. Have I ever had the silent treatment before? I didn't know that was a possibility.
Yeah.
But no, I am very lucky that I do get to do this, and I love doing it. So I'm really happy to be able to continue to do it. I really wasn't sure if it was going to be more than one thing. Like back in was it 2020 when
it wasn't
it very first started. It was just being set up for a one and done. It was just going to be a once-off event, and we all just had so much fun with it that we haven't been able to let go.
We are yet to move on, but we're loving it.
Well, like something positive, something good. Hold on.
Yeah.
Don't let it go.
Don't let it go. No.
Don't let it go. Oh, Jess, I really love this chat.
Yeah.
We will see you for your live interview on the weekend. Time and day to be announced. So keep an eye over on the YouTube channel and on the Big Wool Show socials, and also on Jessica's social. Here we've got Dying For You on Instagram, but there's also a Dying For You Facebook page. So keep an eye out in all the social places. Now she has pressure to post there. And we will see you in November.
Yeah, which isn't that far away.
I say it like it's not 4 days away.
Don't scare me.
So yeah, I'll see you in November. It's weeks away.
Yay. Yes. Okay, thank you very much, Chantelle. This has been fun.
It's been awesome. Thanks so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Okay.